Okay, so we should have a pretty fast meeting today, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Shane, I don't know if you want to do a quick introduction. I know you've been in channel for a little while, maybe like who you are, what you're working on, what you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Shane O'Donnell. I'm a developer at solo.io, and we've been using WASM in the context of Envoy proxy. So we're using WASM to create portable dynamic filters that can be applied at runtime to basically do anything you want an HTTP filter to do. And that's a huge boost for, Envoy overriding a C++ filter, which basically involves maintaining an entire Envoy fork. So this is a really awesome alternative that a lot of our users are really excited about. So that's kind of our main interest in WASM. So far, I've been mostly involved in the logistics of building the filters, moving them around, and getting them into the deployments. But I'm looking to get a little more into the nitty gritty of the WASM stuff itself in the coming weeks.
Okay, that's awesome. And welcome aboard. Glad to have you. As we look into our to-dos we had pinned out from last week, Chris and Ralph are both out, so I guess we can punt both of these for now. The Microsoft team has a scheduling conflict where they're actually out this week as well. So we're waiting on them to see if we're going to move this meeting to 12 or if they're going to reschedule theirs. We had a new architectural decision log submitted. Kevin, do you want to speak to that? Is it number 4 here?
Yep. Yeah, that's the newest one. There's a couple new ones that we have issues for creating. There's a big one around the use of end keys and so on, but this one basically just states that whenever you're using wasmCloud, we'll have to change the wording on this one, but whenever you're using wasmCloud, you cannot push or pull interacting with an OCI registry for either your actors or your capability providers without putting the embedded signatures in them. In other words, security is mandatory when you store and retrieve images. That way, the wasmCloud runtime can guarantee that if it has pulled an image from somewhere, that it can then go and do its security checks on it.
Kevin, can I ask, are there any downfalls to that, like in Dev or QA or anything like that? Or would someone just be signing with a local set of test keys or something?
Yeah, so we thought about that and actually letting people not put security claims inside their stuff kind of breaks the wasmCloud runtime because it assumes the existence of security credentials and capabilities, and it basically can't dispatch your actor without the security context. So it's far easier just to get into the habit of using dev keys in one place and prod keys somewhere else, and to just enforce the existence of signed entities everywhere.
And where is this enforced? Is this enforced in WASH, or the registry itself is not going to enforce it, right?
No, the registry itself isn't going to enforce it because the signature is embedded in the files we're storing. It's not metadata for the registry. Mm-hmm. But WASH enforces it when you push and pull, and wasmCloud enforces it when it opens the artifact before scheduling it.
Okay, good. So we've got multiple checks in case somebody were to use a non-WASH client in order to push an artifact and try to get around. Yep. Okay, solid. Any questions on that, or other feedback? All right, let's see. The .15 review was the sort of the next thing if we wanted to kind of do a roundtable status on different components here. Kevin, you want to start? How's the sort of core rewrite with Actix coming along here?
Like I said, sorry, I'm dropping stuff everywhere. The main rewrite of the core engine, so the core wasmCloud stuff is done, and it is probably 95 to 99% feature complete on the standalone version.
So just the last like 95% is just what's left?
Yeah, yep. There's the first 95% was easy. It's the last 95% it's going to take forever. So that's where that is. Lattice RPC is in there and done. and I'm probably about halfway through adding the control interface to Lattice on that. And yeah, just making my way through there.
Awesome. Anything
I would
else?
say the hardest parts are all the ones that are done. So it's just a matter of going through and writing tests to make sure that I didn't forget some piece of functionality that existed in the old version.
Great. Awesome. And then anything else, Kevin?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Bill, how's packaging coming along?
Yeah, so Wash, the CLI, is pretty much done. I need to do a little extra testing around like the Raspberry Pi distributions and things like that, but we're looking good. Wash,
Done on RPM and Deb, or is you're still not working on Brew, right?
correct, yeah, so it's working for RPM and Deb. No homebrew for anything yet. I'm currently working on the waSCC.dev packaging. I'm running into some basic cross-compilation errors using that cross tool. So I should have that sorted out pretty soon. Just trying to stay as consistent as possible between those two tools with how we actually build and ship those packages.
Yeah, it probably doesn't impact you too much, but in the PR that's active right now for the control interface, the binary has been renamed to wasmCloud, not wasd.
Beautiful. I was kind of waiting for that, so that works out. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm waiting to rename the repo until after that PR is merged, but then also the wasd repo will become wasmCloud.
Got
Excellent.
it. Errors for on the cross compile. Okay.
And so next steps, homebrew packaging for both of those tools.
Okay.
And I feel like might start looking into a Windows one. I'm not sure if that's necessary. Hopefully people use.
Wait, people still use Windows?
Yeah.
No.
Hopefully they're using the, I forget what the acronym is there, but basically Ubuntu on Windows.
Wow. Liam's note taking brought me back. He's using C linked list notation right there. Damn.
It's next raised to the power of next. Or linked
Beautiful.
list. You're right, Kevin.
You're traversing. No. Leave me in my own isolated world of geekdom here, and just pretend like you're dereferencing a linked list.
I'm all about referencing those operators. If you're careful, if you're not careful, I might just leave one dangling there for you.
Oh man. Over on the notes.
Bill, can I ask? We have all these little dev with the corals and all the little dev board. The Jetson, the NVIDIA Jetsons. What OSs do we have on those? The corals, was it the corals or the Jetsons was running something odd? Is it just Deb and RPM compatible?
Yes. Yeah. So it's more about the architectures, I think. I think the Coral was running, and I might be wrong about this. I think it was running some version or variation of Debian.
Yeah, the Coral is just a straight up ARch64 Linux build.
That's perfect. Yeah. So that's exactly what we have the Debian RPMs for currently. So ARch64 and AMD64, they're the current builds. We can add them pretty quickly. So once we need more, it'll be easy to just add them into the packaging.
Okay. Would you mind just making sure we run through a round of tests on those? Just make sure it's on the to-do list. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then so we've got homebrews coming up, and for that, the demo that we have in a couple weeks that we're gonna plan, the homebrew will be one of the critical ones for them. It looks like so. That's
yes. I did a. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say I did a tiny bit of research on that already, and it appears like you need a Mac with Brew installed to actually develop like a Brew tap, which I do not have. That is off the corporate, so that might be a little interesting. But
I'll get you one shipped. It's no problem.
Awesome. Yeah, we should be able to figure it out though. I don't think it's anything complicated, but
I think the thing we'll want to watch for is the difference between the Big Sur versus Court. All the old packaging. A lot of stuff's broken on Big Sur. NPM was having issues, all kinds of shit.
It's going to make it very interesting, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it done.
Super. Awesome. Anything else, Bill?
Nothing for me. No.
Phil, how's the multi-language support coming for waPC?
Still holding strong at the 3 that we've got. Not much has really moved since then. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where we left off, Kevin, with getting things baked into the SDKs. I think that's probably where we're at.
So yeah, if you look at the, I forget the name of the repo, but there's a mega repo that has.
Is this on waSCC, Kevin, or WASC?
No, it's in WASC.
Okay.
But it has the. Let's see if you can see it in there.
It's got all the whittles and the hooks to do the code gen.
Actor interfaces. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's basically one language there, and it has a bunch of precompiled preset crates that you can use for HTTP server and key value. I'm going to be creating a bunch more based on the first party providers that we have. But what is not there are the equivalent modules in TinyGo, AssemblyScript, and Zig. Although I don't think we're doing Zig yet, are we?
No. That one would take a lot more extra work actually, because like there is no string. You had to bring things like string to the party, so you'd have to be a lot more opinionated. Still possible, but.
So you said TinyGo, AssemblyScript, and Zig for now.
So we need TinyGo, AssemblyScript, and then the remainder of the Rust crates for the first party actor interfaces.
Got it. Now, if I go to add a new, actor or anything or a new capability, I won't need to update the SDK, right? I'll ride on top of the SDK.
So if you build an actor on the existing Rust SDK, it will still be binarily compatible with the new stuff that uses the code gen, but your developer experience will be different. Oh. So the 0.15, the whole wasmCloud rewrite is also, instead of coming with a single monolithic actor SDK, which is what we have today, you will be able to pick and choose the tiny actor interfaces. So if you only want to use an HTTP server, you only declare a dependency on that HTTP server actor interface.
Got it. All right. Got it. And then, so who owns that? Kevin, do you own the sort of templating here, or Phil, is that you? Who's got the to-do hanging on this one?
Well, I own the rest of the Rust ones, and I was hoping Phil was going to take a shot at the TinyGo and AssemblyScript ones.
Yeah, that's on me. It's just a matter of finding some time. I'm deep in some other stuff right now.
Fair enough. I know you've got a lot going on, Phil. We love all the contributions here. And then, are we going to, move a waPC to the WASC directory so that it's all, together? Is that one of the things we've got in flight here?
In terms of GitHub?
Yeah.
I didn't think we were doing that, but
okay.
We can certainly discuss it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll put a pin in that on combining the GitHub GitHub stuff later. We can take that one offline. And then I've been go to my updates. I've got we've talked a bit about combining a bunch of the messaging into and the blogging into a wasmCloud as a name, as like the broader name. So I took some time here and I shared this out with a few of you to build out what we think the sort of experience will look like on the new website. With .15, we've got sort of rewrited the docs here. The stuff in bold are the headers. What I was modeling this after was Zeke.org here. I thought they did a good job on managing, the sort of like experience and the layout. Including, documentation for long-term release and some other stuff. As part of the documentation rewrite, I've looked at Docusaurus, obviously Sphinx, and a few other tools that.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but the page you pulled up for Zeke's documentation is a Hugo template.
This is Sphinx, actually.
It's still a Hugo template.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what engine they're using to host it or whatever, but that template, the CSS and stuff for it is either Hugo or Hugo-ish. But one of my open questions is, have we decided on a layout CSS template for the docs?
No, I think Sphinx is pretty pluggable, but I think the first thing is sort of decide what's the engine we're going to use, whether it's Sphinx or I'm not married in any way to Docusaurus. It just looks like a very modern way to make open documentation websites, and some of the examples look pretty good as far as like the guides here.
I think you've already called it out in that spreadsheet, but I think one of the features that we really want to have as far as documentation goes is the ability to separate multiple versions.
Yeah, you got it. And that's, to me, feels like the critical one on, having, if there's a long-term support release versus a feature release, and versus what's a master is what I was really kind of going for here. So being able to version all the APIs and having different landing pages for, what we launched under wasmCloud felt right. And then also doing, trying to pay a little more care on the onboarding experience on how to get into the community, the FAQs and stuff, the tutorials, linking the demonstrations here, the providers that we have in day one, and then organizing the community stuff a bit better with some upcoming events. So this is the 1.0 for the site. If anybody has any feedback, feel free to just drop it in Slack or here. For next week, I'm going to try to have a first cut of this, so an MVP. I have no idea what technology I'm going to use to do that. It will likely just be a Hugo template, Kevin, here that we can integrate into GitHub Actions and Netlify for CI/CD. Is that for me?
It is.
Oh, thank you. I'm recording a call right now, though. Thank you so much. So I appreciate that. My wife just brought me a beautiful lunch. It's absolutely great. I'll show it to you. Ooh.
Special
Barbie.
delivery.
There we
Corned
go.
beef.
I don't know what's on it. Maybe just mozzarella.
Nice.
I wish it were toasted. I'm going to take it back and put it on the panini press.
Whatever it is, I could see all 4K worth of that sandwich.
I'm gonna just put the lunch to the side for right now. So any questions or thoughts about the website plan and what we're going to do there? All right, that's my Friday. So I'll start just dropping out early feedback and something else. And the real intention here with the wasmCloud stuff is we have all of these disparate discussions happening across the Crustlet blog, the Diaz blog, wasc.dev, ... We want to get all those together, and wasmCloud is actually a new LLC because we have a couple of discussions where we want to do some logo exchange. So for example, if we're able to successfully get through the Google Coral.ai partner program, we want to get our logo there and their logo here. So we want to start getting those compatible with, Google Coral, compatible with NVIDIA Jetson, compatible with, I've got a meeting with IBM CTO on Monday, by the way, about doing an interchange with them too, and getting some support across the board here. We're getting some really cool adoption of the tooling in various places, Phil, with waPC and WASP. But we're not like reflecting that as a community and saying, join us as a team. And that's what the goal is with wasmCloud. Ultimately, wasmCloud will go into a foundation whenever we get that set. But we're all sort of up to speed with the Bytecode Alliance's team's transition from Mozilla to Fastly, the Linux Foundation, and the other parties. There's just not a sort of core plan out here yet for where we end up at the end of the day. And my point is, it could be another 6 months or a year before that stuff's ready. And the sooner that we just collaborate, the better. So that's what I'm trying to organize around wasmCloud. Any thoughts or questions on that? So I'm super excited about it. And we'll start to do things under backlog there. Let's see. So Docs rewrite, you mentioned wasmCloud, the ADRs. We've got a Crustlet update that we're waiting on. We'll get the Microsoft folks on maybe next week. Kevin, you brought up the Kata Coda tutorials. Do you want to speak to that now, or is that still just like just an idea stage?
It's more like an idea that's really it's sort of mentally in the backlog. In your website map, there's a section that says "Play with wasmCloud Online."
Yeah.
And that's essentially where the Kata Coda containers are going to go. The idea is that we want to give people a Tinker playground that they can use to get over that initial, decision of, well, how much work do I have to do to get this installed? And if all they have to do to play with it is just open a tab and they're at a terminal ready to roll with the tutorial text on the side, then I think that's probably the best way to get people into this tech.
I really love that, Kevin. That's so thoughtful. And that's probably as we, go through our, we probably want to prioritize this a little bit into the first pass at the docs. Because that'll involve a rewrite of the scripts for the tutorials, and then we can try to run those through on Kata Coda and see how they sort of show up and how they work and stuff like that. But I like that a lot.
I don't know if you have it on your on any of the backlogs anywhere, but the edX, what the heck are those things called? The MOOC, the MOOC, the edX online class for Linux Foundation. That deadline is January-ish, so that'll also be another source of learning and documentation for this stuff.
Great, super. Okay. Well, I knew we were going to have a fast one today. Anybody have any follow-up questions on what's in flight or how things are coming along? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'll go and stop recording and we can all hang out for a little bit and chit chat if we'd like. But have a great day.